Welcome back to Let's Not Sugarcoat It. Season 3 is here and we're excited to dive into the core of communication, relationships, and leadership.
We're your hosts, Bella and Lee, a husband and wife duo with a successful business helping couples and organizations get it together to play a bigger game and elevate their relationships and performance.
We believe in keeping it real, so each week we'll bring you incredible guests, entrepreneurs sharing their authentic experiences, along with episodes featuring just the two of us tackling the tough topics.
So, if you're ready to enhance your connections and sharpen your leadership skills, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of Let's Not Sugarcoat It. Today in the house we have Shannon DeSouza, a dear friend, someone I met at a winery, and she was this feisty little thing. I'm telling you guys, she is the founder of the Aura Goddess Festival, which focuses on health, wealth, and relationships.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more, because when I Googled you for your bio, you've done so many things. And then now you stepped into your feminine and created this amazing goddess festival.
Yes.
But you do other things as well.
Yes. So from a business perspective, I'm leading a group of AI companies, and that's like, my business day to day, what I'm up to. I have very much been on a healing journey for the last 7 years. Started very, very small, learning about like Reiki and breathwork and EFT tapping. And this was around the time that I had a digital marketing agency. Mm-hmm. And so lots of different clients were coming to me in different ways. And I believe that happened because I asked for spirituality, and I asked to deepen that and understand that journey and like get to know who I am and myself. I would say 7 years later today, I have gone very, very deep with myself, and I continue on that journey. The Aria Goddess Festival was birthed this last year. You were one of our attendees who also had an incredible experience and breakthrough. Yeah. And it was really through, I believe, sitting with plant medicine in the last 2 years and going on this really conscious journey. That's what I like to call it. That the festival was born, all the changes in my life have happened. And I believe that the consciousness in general is just rising. And so I have been called to share this with the world and to create a platform for all of these healers, let's so to say, which we all are, our own healer, so that we can learn more about ourselves and we can bring that into our daily practice, and we can bring that into relationship, we can bring that into business.
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit in time, right? Because as women entrepreneurs, we do operate a lot in our masculine, a lot. And that's when burnout happened. That's when, inflammation, sickness, hormone imbalances happen. And then stepping into that feminine energy and leading with that, how has that changed your business strategy and communication?
I would say
you bring into your
my
circle?
whole life has changed. Yeah. The first thing is I had wanted to be in my masculine. I had wanted to dominate. I had wanted to make a lot of money. I had wanted to lead. I had wanted to be very, very strong and ambitious. Not to say that I don't want that anymore. I would just like to do it in a way that feels more natural to myself and my body. I would say being in that energy all the time eroded my relationship and my marriage. I would say that had probably played a large part in why we weren't able to have a conscious relationship, because masculine men are not attracted to masculine women. That's just not a thing. It has to have some sort of polarization. And so when you're a very, very strong woman, then you're going to attract a softer, more subtle man. And not like there's anything wrong with it. So this journey for me has really been around understanding that each of us are both masculine and feminine. And then how do we play in the middle? And I've never been one to be super in balance. And so now I'm just in a time in my life where it's really important that I'm able to do that. So what does that mean for me from a business perspective is getting more help. Like I don't have to do everything myself. Releasing things that don't serve me. So whether that be relationships or friendships or clients or businesses, I'm finding a way for me to work smarter instead of harder. Coming from an immigrant family, which similar to you, you have a background in that as well. We're told we have to work really hard and you have to work hard. There's only hard work.
Yes. Oh, my mom to this day, she's like,
no
what
sleep.
are you doing? Yeah, no sleep. We're not allowed to sleep. I was never allowed to sleep. And yeah, it was like, my mom still doesn't understand what we do. And when we're saying we want to bring things online and I'm in this energy of softness, she's like, what are you doing? She doesn't understand. You have to go 9 to 5. Like, it's still...
rest.
Yes.
Rest. Unfortunately, I think there's been so much trauma over the years with so many things happening in the economy or political cycles that they don't understand the concept and they weren't afforded the opportunity or capability or luxury, really. We live in a time where our money can do some heavy lifting for us, right? And so my family very much had the beliefs because of their own trauma that when you make money, you hold on to it really, really tight. And so that's a lot of the work that I've been doing myself is untangling myself from these stories that are not even mine. This is, generations of poverty. I didn't grow up in poverty, but yet I have the same stories, right? And so to me, that's soft girl era, right? Getting more focused on investments. Like how can I build wealth so I'm not trading necessarily my time for money? Hence, my background professionally is in software and why I've come back into the software world. About 10 years ago, I manifested being a software CEO. I'm so grateful that this is the opportunity I get now. But it's the concept of building something once and selling that over and over and over again, right? Every single month. And versus in these last 10 years prior to this, it's been about services. And so, yes, you can make a lot of money in services, but I'm working a ton, right? I'm constantly on sales calls. I'm constantly in delivery. I'm constantly just go, 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 go. So then where does that leave room for relationships?
Yeah. So, I mean, what would be then for you, Shannon, like what was one of those key critical points then? I mean, you obviously are a successful woman, being in your masculine clearly was working for you to an extent. I'm a firm believer that usually at some point in our lives that winning formula, let's call it, that we all have, at some point it becomes over leveraged if you're not conscious, right, about if you're not being intentional. And usually we don't become aware that we need to change something until it's already leveraged and there's already some, sometimes damage done or your results are waning. What was, one of those critical moments for you where you realized that you needed to make the shift?
For me, it's health. I found that I had no problem putting in 12, 14, 16-hour days, but I wasn't eating well, or I wasn't eating at all. And I didn't have any sort of movement. And so that is a completely not sustainable lifestyle to have, especially for women as we're getting older. Like soon I'll be approaching perimenopause. These are things that we should be very conscious of. And I know that there's a whole movement around, it's not about being skinny. You need strength when you're getting older. You need your muscle. You need all of these other things and how the gut is connected to the brain and all of these pieces. So I would say health has always been something that I haven't focused on, and it very much is something that I am right now. And then I think the other piece is my relationship. I had been in this relationship. I'm going to get a little bit emotional.
It's okay.
So I had been in this relationship for 14 years. And if I really have to go back, intuitively, I knew that it was something that I should not have done. And I very much was in fear and scarcity. And again, I took a very masculine approach. My parents, they come from a lineage of arranged marriages. They themselves are arranged. However, they had really wanted me to have a love marriage. However, how can you steward somebody to successfully achieve something if you've never done it yourself? So they very much had given me a lot of advice that their families had given to them, and they didn't understand how that would affect me. I also was being given conflicting advice from my mother, who she very much had to be in her masculine because she was the first generation that actually worked. So these are young people who came as immigrants to Canada. Now she has to also contribute to the household, but she also has the expectation of taking care of the house and taking care of the kids.
Yeah.
So she became hypermasculine herself, and she gave me a lot of information, which has been very helpful. Like, you know, you should make your own money, you should have your own bank account, you should make sure you can hire a maid who can clean and get daycare and all of these things. But that put me in a place which became very unnatural for like who we are as women.
Yeah.
Right? And so then couple that with advice of how to look for a partner from like a checklist perspective, I very much approached it like it was a business. And then it was something that I had to, he had these things, check. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
And so the Indian culture is also very accomplishment focused.
Yes.
And so this was like, okay, this accomplishment. So it's like you get the person, you get the ring, you get the wedding, you get the kid, you get the house, you get the cars, you get the vacation, all the things. And it's a very common story. My story is not unique necessarily to me. There's so many people who have that emptiness in them because they haven't had a chance to even take time for themselves to get clarity about their life's purpose. And if you ever do any research on Oprah and what she's compiled with the thousands of interviews she's done, is that everybody is in pursuit of their life's purpose. And so having given myself the gift of many, many retreats and lots of coaches and retreats and experiences, and now being many, many healers, and now even holding this kind of space for other women and soon to be men, I understand that's the exact same thing that everyone's looking for, is their clarity on their life's purpose.
Yeah. And I can totally relate as well, especially in the conflicting messaging coming from an immigrant family, Poland. My dad was always, yes, strong, independent woman until the man comes along. Then you have to be strong, independent, and you have to be the perfect wife, the mother, the soft, and all, like everything else. And now your dreams and wants and needs are not as important as your husband's and family.
Yeah. So, where is room for you?
Exactly, right? So I did operate in a very like hyper masculine energy because I had to be all of that. And then when, Lee and I got together, before we had kids, it worked because we both traveled. We traveled together, we traveled separately. And then when the children came, suddenly my life changed. His life didn't really change. He didn't have to maneuver his career. He didn't have to stay at home with the children. He didn't have to do all the things that innately as a mother I wanted to do. But then I also needed to be that businesswoman. I needed to bring in the income and so on and so forth. So yeah, it is hard. I got so exhausted of being in that space.
Because it's unnatural and there's also no rest. But my story is actually the opposite. My ex wanted to be at home and wanted to not work and wanted to do all the family stuff. Yeah. And so what happened to me was I wasn't attracted to him. Yeah. Because we need that polarization in sexual chemistry. Yeah. Right? And so if you don't respect your partner and like what they're doing and how they're contributing, that's going to be a problem sexually as well. Yeah. Right? And then also I'm now so masculine, he's now so feminine, and just feels so unnatural. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I don't want to be this person either. But now I feel all this pressure that now I have to do this and I have to keep up. And we actually got into like a really competitive state, which again is very unnatural. That's too masculine, right?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like our society has really conditioned us women to be in this, even the media and the like social stuff we don't need men. What do we need men? We're making our own money. We're making this. I'm like, yeah, but I need
a man.
I need a man. I need my man to open the doors for me. I need my man to make the bed. I love when he makes the bed. Those are little things. I need him to mow the lawn. And call me, gender, whatever. It's scary now to say anything in this world about who, we have the blue job, pink job thing, right? So it's like, I say, okay, this car getting fueled, car getting serviced, that's a blue job.
Got it.
Me taking care of the feminine stuff with the children, that's a pink job. We laugh about it, joke about it, but
it's propaganda.
It is.
It's propaganda is what it is. And I just decided that I'm not going to be poisoned anymore by this. So what I need a man for, I need to be held.
Yeah.
I need to be cuddled. I need connection. I need somebody that I can share my day and my life with and get all of the things off of my chest with, right? And so this is where it's been so beautiful to meet somebody who also desires to practice conscious relationship. And conscious relationship is very much like, you're going to attract someone for a man. They're going to attract a woman who is going to show you the mirror, right? And the feminine, we naturally find the holes. We naturally find the cracks. We naturally will just bring it up because we are continuously trying to survive. Yeah. We're not sure within ourselves. We don't have that strength. And it's the man actually who proves that they can be tested. They can go out and fight. They can conquer. And that's their job, right? But us unsure beings are trying to go out there and conquer and fight, and no wonder it's causing so much chaos.
It's interesting because I believe that we're in this kind of era of labels, right, where people are just trying to find their life's purpose, and because we're conditioned at such an early age that which we are looking for, our purpose in life, exists out here in the world. Right? We are constantly looking for people and things, and now it's labels to provide us with that sense of, I found my purpose, I am enough, I belong, where the answers to all of those things are actually within us, right? It just requires that sense of, curiosity, to hold space and vulnerability and ultimately communicate both with those people that you want to have close to you, but also with yourself.
1,000%. And that to me comes back to the spaciousness. Like if you don't have room for yourself, like how are you able to even get the ideas that you need or get the understanding or like repair the relationship or whatever? And we're in this time where we're just, not only are we being overprogrammed, we're overstimulated and then we're overscheduled.
Yeah. Yeah, 100. Yes. We pulled our kids out of many extracurricular activities so that they could get bored. So that they can actually not have so much thrown at them. Because I know when I get overloaded, I don't function properly. I get agitated, I snap, it's like, right? And then we're expecting...
You're not sleeping.
We're not sleeping, like you said, not eating properly, we're not exercising, we're constantly, go, overstimulated. And with kids nowadays, there's so much thrown at them with their phones, with iPads, with school, and then those extra things that we're constantly on the go. There's no break. There's no go into the woods, children, and play. Well, at least in my house there is right now.
Yeah. Well, nature is such an important part of all of this. Yeah. Which a lot of major cities, they've just bulldozed nature, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I found myself really because Lee and I went through a really difficult time, a major breakdown in our relationship, and it was because we weren't operating in the energies. We were totally opposites and just not aligning. We weren't communicating. We weren't asking for the things that we needed. We're so focused on the things we didn't have. So then when your energy is constantly in that space, that's all you're going to see. Yeah. How one person's not showing up for the other, how they're communicating, what they're doing wrong instead of
it's law of attraction, right? So whatever you focus on will grow.
Yeah. So before our relationship broke down, I had this epiphany. I was like, what are we fighting for? What is this for? You know, just let it go. And I had coaches as well that helped me kind of get through that phase where we did separate.
Yeah.
And that's when I had that awakening within myself. And I was on the mountain crying, dropping to the floor, and then I just surrendered. I've never felt so free. I let go of all the things that I was holding on, not just for myself, but other people, right? Because we do carry. We're always worried about this, what this person's thinking, what they're doing, trying to manage relationships. I'm like, I am done managing everything and everyone. It is time for me. Because like you said, we're looking for our purpose. Well, how are we supposed to find ourselves when we're constantly managing and doing for others?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite that spiritual awakening. I did a mushroom journey that also opened up my heart and, you know, my third eye. I married the I can be this and that versus this or that business and the witchy witch. Because I can be all of it when
we are all of it. We're not one-dimensional, and I think we're in a beautiful time where this is the age of Aquarius in these next 19 years, where there's the rise of spirituality, where I think we will start seeing a lot of institutions, potentially religious institutions, fall, and the realization, the connection that, you know, God is actually in us, right? And we are always connected, and we don't need to go to this third party to kind of get the information and the knowledge that we need, which is exactly what Lee was just talking about, right? Like, all the answers are here. Right? And so many people, they give away their power, right? They don't realize how powerful they are, but that's because, again, with the propaganda.
Yes, we have, and that's why we pulled our kids out of public education, and now we have the control over what they're focusing on and what the information that we want for them.
That's the best decision.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have the control and probably also a better understanding of like where the world is going.
Yeah.
Right? And the type of knowledge and information you need to arm them with. Right?
Yes.
And it's critical thinking. It's resilience. It's conflict and crisis management. It's communication.
Yes.
Like these are all the things that are human.
Yeah.
Right? And AR is already like huge and it's only going to get bigger and stronger and better. And so now our human attributes are going to be so valuable.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. And I would say another big one too is it's teaching. It will teach them confidence, but true confidence, not false confidence. And the distinction between the two is the traditional school system teaches false confidence because they teach that confidence is in knowing, in knowledge, right? If you already know the answer, right? If you already know that if you do A and B, you know, C is going to be the outcome. That's false. True confidence comes in, I don't know the answer. I don't know what's going to happen. That it's clear the future is very uncertain. However, I have confidence in myself that I will figure it out, right? That I will find the answers, that I will find the people, I will create the network and the communities and whatever was required to succeed, I will figure it out. And that is the true confidence that I think a lot of people lack because it's not, we're not conditioned to think that way. The traditional school system doesn't teach us that way. And so we're catching that at an early age to be able to instill that into our daughters because that's a part of the future.
Yeah, getting curious is so important. And they were realizing how scared they were for asking for help because if they didn't know something, they were too afraid to ask because then they would be wrong or labeled as, you know, not like, you know, they're like, well, I'm stupid, right? Like the language that was coming out. I'm like, why? Because in the system, in the public school system here, they're teaching individuality, not collaboration. You know, you go and you do your math test. If you don't know anything, you're not allowed to ask, right? You have to do it yourself. But if you don't understand, how are you supposed to learn? Because we all learn differently.
I mean, the school system is creating 9-to-5 employees, right? And what you're teaching your children, which is in alignment with what I would love to continue to teach my son, is the skill set you need to be successful in entrepreneurship. right? You need to be able to critically think, and any situation can come up at any point in time, but
Yeah.
you know you're smart enough, right, within yourself to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
Not be,
resourceful
yeah.
and it's about effort.
Yeah. And you're not
Yeah.
afraid to go and look for help. And that's another thing. As a woman, we were conditioned to be all independent. I can do it, superwoman, super mom,
No.
super wife. You know, I can do it all my own. Look, social media. I am like this perfect. I can have my hair done, my nails done. I am cooking. I am doing business on the side. I can do it all. We have learned. I've heard. I had major burnout. At one
Yes.
point, I was like, I need help. And I
Yes.
need major help.
Yeah, because you're trying to do 8 jobs,
Yes.
8 people's jobs, like one person. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. Like why?
Yeah. But so that was my little like school of hard knocks.
Yeah.
Was there was such resistance because I needed to do it all by myself. And that was what I was hearing from my kids. So I'm like, no, I don't want them going down that path where it took me so long to figure it out in business. That's why the burnout. Every business I wanted, there was a burnout. And then I said, that's it. I can't do this anymore. I'm out. I'm going to reinvent myself but it wasn't the job per se, it was me and how I was
the energy.
operating. I was not managing business or running a business. I was operating.
Yeah.
And I was operating all of it.
Yeah, it's too much.
It
It's
was-
unnatural. And it's so important because you have girls,
Yeah.
right? So the girls are looking at you and how you're operating. And one of the things that I didn't realize is like my family was like pumping into me like to get an education and to be this strong woman. And I have a brother. My brother was not being told you need to choose a strong woman.
Yeah.
So now he's going out and looking for like a softer, more feminine woman who can like be in balance with him.
Yeah.
So it actually became very difficult for me to date because masculine men, which all of the women are trying to look for, they're not hunting for women like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I recently had to have a conversation with my family around that, and like they didn't realize it until I told them because they're giving 2 completely different messages to 2
yeah.
different sexes.
Yeah. No, and I totally get it. I'm going to a retreat next week, and one of the things I'm going to be talking about is how to step out of your masculine into your feminine, and when it is appropriate. You know, when you are hustling and you're doing your business, yeah, you want to be in your masculine because that's the energy of doing and like conquering and right? Your feminine soft, you switch when you're going on a date.
Yeah.
You want to be taken care of. You want them to open the doors. You want to be held. You want to be heard.
But even with our partner, right? Like
Yeah.
we want to offer nurturing. We want to offer kindness and love. Like we're supposed to be that extension, which is also turned really perverse that like we're supposed to be that extension of that mother energy for our partner. And now it's become perverse that like, oh, a man shouldn't have that. And it's like, they need that to be fueled. Like, so our job actually as women is to breathe life into them, right? Is to encourage them and to love them and to feel confident so they can go out and conquer so that we can be at home, right? We can take care of these other things.
Yeah. And I think that there's a huge part, like going back to this term you're using on like conscious relationship is even in this conversation we're hearing, it's still a lot of assumptions, right? And so it is a conscious relationship to me is sitting down with another person and one, actually having conversations about, well, what is it that you want? What is it that I want? Right? What is it that you need and that I need? And having that dialogue instead of it just being years and years and years or decades of assuming what the other person's wants and needs are, because that gets a lot of relationships into trouble because then resentment builds, all this stuff builds because neither of you are talking about what you want. And then you're just thinking, right? A lot of men are on default conditioned to be, providers and protectors and will sacrifice themselves and what they want in their life to be able to provide and protect. And then they provide things that maybe their partner doesn't really want or never asked for, right? And they don't feel that sense of appreciation back for those things. And so resentment builds on the man's side, but then the same thing on the women's side. They do the same thing where they assume this is what they need to do, right? And then resentment builds because they're not living into their true, authentic self. The second piece is, so in order to talk about what you want and what you need, there's actually a layer of conscious relationship with yourself. You need to explore what it is that you actually want, what it is that you actually need. Because I think, just like you were saying earlier, at a young age and when you were first stepping out looking for that love and long-term relationship, you're somewhat looking through the lens of like the lenses that your parents gave you, right? So this is what you're looking for. So you're living into their idea of what it is that you want, and it takes some time to be able to figure out that for yourself. So now coming back is, what are you doing with your retreats that help the people that attend them start to realize that, start to have that awakening, that awareness, that consciousness of themselves, of what it is that they want and need in their lives, so they can have these, more powerful relationships?
Absolutely. That's a beautiful question. And thank you for sharing about the male perspective. Before I get into answering that question, I actually want to share that it's been so loud for at least 60 years for what women want and what women need, and women, moving forward and we're the future and all the things. Yeah. And men are in a serious crisis right now. And so it's been beautiful for me to witness, speaking to a lot of men recently, especially through relationship and dating and all of those things, and hearing their perspective of like, why did their relationship actually disintegrate? Yeah. And a lot of it had to do with exactly what you said. Like they had to go out and do all of the things, and they had to be forgotten, and they were never appreciated. So I think, like, from my perspective, that's something that I bring to the forefront is men need a lot of physical touch, and men need to hear, like, verbally, they need affirmation, right? And so I think they're two simple things that we need to remember as women that will help encourage and fuel them. Yeah. Now, in regards to how am I helping people create this life for themselves that I've created for myself, I think the first is I have a series of small retreats. Usually they're 8 people or less. We go to very exotic locations that have sacred sites, very energetic, and I named them Abundant and Wealthy as Fuck. And so why I did that was it's truly a luxurious retreat for them. They come there, we have private chefs, we're in a mansion, like everything is taken care of. And often the people I attract are very high achieving women, very, very successful, and they've never had time to just lay down and be with themselves. Yeah. Like, it's miraculous. So then over those days, it's a series of exercises and experiences where we're doing a lot of reflection. There's some coaching in that as well. There's community and connection. There's sisterhood. There's laughing. There's crying. And I literally, every single time I do it, there's Phoenix just rising from the ashes. Every single one of them has a massive breakthrough, and then we'll connect like mid-year and after, and then they come year after year. So that's the first way I'm doing it, is being very, very intentional. And because I am bougie, I like to do this in a really fancy way. Yeah. And so even from a wealth perspective, for you to say yes to invest in yourself like $10,000, a lot of women have never done that before. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with giving me the money, because majority of that money is going back to them in the experience. Yeah. And so every single client who says yes to themselves and does this, there's been a massive boost in their business because they're showing the universe that they're worthy and deserving of more. And so it's been even incredible for me to witness that. Now, in this past year, I have launched Aria, and that has been, it was 150 of us that came together over those 3 days. There was about 50 different experiences, whether they be on main stage by healers or activations or activities or workshops. So lots of different types of experiences. And essentially it was just about introspection. And so there was a lot of somatic healing, whether that could be through movement or sound or music, doing ritual. There's a lot of ancient rituals that have been stripped from us. In fact, we've been burned, and all of this knowledge removed from us, and even using very natural herbs or spices or scents or oils that we're now bringing in that are very, very simple and basic that if we actually adhere to them, they can help us in our daily lives. So, and it's about bringing us back to ourselves. I am on this huge journey, so I continue to experience all of these incredible things. So last year is going to be completely different than what I'm planning for this year. And even for the health perspective, it is a big focus on yoni health and yoni health in all sorts of different perspectives, right? And so a lot of people have never even heard the word yoni. Have you heard the word yoni?
Okay. Yes, he has. He has a wig for
great
for a while.
Great.
But I'm telling you, the first time he probably heard it was at like probably what is that Paradise? The reality TV where they have Too Hot to Handle, and they were doing the yoni rituals. So probably years ago is when he first started. But no, I do believe that men and women need to understand each other, and you do that through experiences together.
Yes.
And experiences where we figure out who we truly are as human beings, both men and female. So I do love what you're doing. I feel like there is male retreats, but I think they're a little bit further behind in crossing that consciousness and that awakening, because there's still a bit of a stigma of what that means for men, where we've heard from a lot of women that we coach in relationship and communication. It's like, I'm awakening as a woman. I am moving here. I'm having these breakthroughs, and I want my partner to come along. But to him, it feels like, you know, those like soft man, and he's a manly man, and manly men don't go conscious like the soft man, right? So there is still a bit of a stigma of what the true awakening is.
As we continue this work, it's going to just be more and more popular. It is my belief, and actually one of my healers shared with me, that is women who are going to be doing our healing and our work and our awakening first, and then we pull the man through relationship, and then men will create their own circles. And we are seeing it. They are happening. I do know of circles where, they focus a lot more on movement and fitness and weight and like health and on all of these other more physical things. But I believe like men are open, and there are a lot of really, really great men, and they just don't know where to find the circles. And so we have to continue to have the conversation to say it exists.
Because Lee has a man's group he started, especially for men who are willing and open to have those conversations, creating a safe space for them to come and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Because there is that, you have
to hold it all in and push it all down.
So there is movements coming on that are not necessarily, the retreat parts, because everybody thinks, oh, I'm trying to take my husband for a retreat, but he's pièce de résistance. There's so much resistance because they don't understand what actually happens in those.
I would say meet them where they're at. I remember going to a couples retreat with my ex, and he was so not ready to be anywhere near this, and it actually created a lot of turmoil and chaos within himself and our relationship and all these pieces. And so maybe it's not about retreats. Maybe it's about breath work. Right? Maybe it's about journaling. Maybe it's about a morning routine. Maybe it's about walks. Maybe it's about like solo hikes in nature, I mean, there's other pieces. We also have to remember that men are not like women. And so if you read anything or studied under Alison Armstrong, who wrote the Queen's Code, she talks a lot about how women are so upset with men because we expect them to be like women. And they're not. So we're just persecuting them for not being like us, but we also don't want them to be like us. So I think really what I think there needs to be more of is education for women around the true essence of men, and how do we actually like interact with them, and what is their nature, and how do we support them, and how do we love them, as opposed to what a lot of the messaging right now, which is like, independent women, you don't need anybody. No,
we
need to get laid.
We need, we totally do. Right? And we do need each other. I mean, I still call him because the jar are too, I'm like, muscles, come over here.
Right?
Well, and I think that going back to the thing about labels, right, is, maybe it's even whatever it needs to be, right, for like a retreat, maybe it's not called a retreat, because
Yeah.
I think that, like, as we're talking about this, the two images I have in my mind is like you have the what you would picture a traditional guy to be, right? And of course, there's different variations depending if that traditional guy lives in northern Alberta and Fort McMurray or if he lives in LA, right? But there's this kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, a man's man. And then when you think about, well, what does a man look like who goes on a retreat? I think the immediate image is like, some yogi, right? Some soft
Yeah.
spoken, right? Wears drapes for
Very
clothes,
flexible.
right? And just and yet neither of those, like those are complete polarizations, and neither of those need to be true, right? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, this is about transcending different levels of consciousness, and
Mm-hmm.
and women will do that one way, men need to have another way, and then there'll be a blend of both of those approaches that come in the middle,
Yeah.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's not forcing one way or the other. And I think we go back to being intentional and conscious about it. And like Bella was saying, we know couples that they are stuck in this place where the women want their men to go on a couples retreat, and
And
the
become these
husband.
conscious men, but to them, conscious men are that typical, stereotypical, whatever. And the man is, there's a resistance. So now it's creating even more
Yes.
tension in
Yes.
relationship, right?
Yes. And so, yes, changing the label, throw out the label, whatever it may be, and understanding. Women also, we move very quickly, we learn very fast. And so we also have the same expectation of men.
Yeah.
And again, this goes back to honoring what the masculine is.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's enough education on really what the masculine is
Yeah.
in order so that they can honor them.
Yeah.
And that's why, to me, like, this is such a big topic, and that's why we're going to bring this really big into Aria, because it's great that we're doing all this female work, but a part of it has to be in balance for ourselves, but also for a relationship and partner.
Yeah.
So, for somebody that's listening to this episode, and they don't want to wait for one of your retreats to go and learn and experience what they need to experience, what are some things that they could be doing right away in their day-to-day life, whether it's trying to attract that new relationship they're looking for, or help grow the current relationship that they're in to be more conscious? What are some things
Absolutely.
that they could do?
So one of the things that I learned, and I take it to heart every single day, is be the partner you want to be or attract. So you cannot expect something of someone else if you're not that. So if you really want a kind partner, are you even kind to yourself?
Yeah.
Like, are you shit talking yourself? Are you criticizing your body? Are you not eating well? Are you not working out? Or like, where are you being unkind? Right? It's really being introspective, to be in consciousness, and look at the things that are really ugly. It's a lot of shadow work, and if that sounds really, really scary, again, it's a perspective, it's a mindset. To me, it's scary that you're not living to your highest potential. You're not living to your fullest, expression of you, right? And so a lot of this work has really looked at like what's happened in childhood, and how can I shift that within me? So I would start with education. And so if you haven't heard of Alison Armstrong, if you haven't heard of David Detta, get their books, listen to their audios, whatever it may be, because I think that'll give you incredible foundational pieces to start with yourself. A lot of people are blaming their partner, blaming other people for why they don't have what they desire, and it's exact opposite. You have to take responsibility, radical responsibility. You have to take accountability for what's missing within you.
I mean, that's exactly what happened within our relationship. I know you're laughing, but that was exactly what happened. We didn't communicate. We didn't look at our own shadow part. And it happened when my dad passed away. like the shock of his death and how it happened, like the trauma, we don't know how we're going to react when trauma happens.
No idea.
And it literally split us apart because we weren't looking at why we're feeling this way and blame and the and all that stuff, because we weren't looking in the mirror. And then when our breakdown happened, that's when I went on this journey. I went first and really looked at myself. Not just the pretty parts, but all the other things that make up me. And I had to sit with it and be like, this is all of me. I accept all of this. And now I'm shifting into that. I'm releasing whatever is no longer there to protect me, that serves me. It served me to protect me, but no longer there. And where am I giving back, the blame, the shame, all that stuff that I was blamed for? I will own my parts, but I will not carry the other person's things anymore. And that was so liberating. I created so much space. I've never felt such gratitude in my ever. People say, oh, I'm grateful for. I sat on that bloody rock at Paul's tomb, and the feeling, it's like I was high. The amount of gratitude I felt for my husband leaving me was just crazy. It wasn't because I was grateful that my marriage broke, but what I was grateful for is that coming home to self.
Yeah.
And being like, hello, Bella, I've arrived.
Yeah. I feel as though people are always wanting the light, but in order to appreciate the light, you have to go through the darkness. Right? And so for you in this experience, it was this breakdown, right? And so you can't appreciate being in a conscious relationship right now if you haven't gone through that breakup, if you haven't gotten rid of the debris, right? If you haven't even talked about, what it is you truly desire. And so again, so much gratitude that did happen, and you guys were able to come together and able to continue to work through this. Consciousness and conscious relationship is not like a one-time conversation. No. It literally is like a daily practice in micro experiences throughout the day.
We know, we're quite aware of those micro little experiences that we go through.
Yes, we'll call them experiences. Yeah. But, I do... Go ahead.
No, go ahead, babe.
I love the framing of the shadow parts, because it's called the hero's journey, right? It's every story that we have of heroes who have these great abilities always come to a place where they have to face a vulnerability, they have to face a fear, they have to face parts of them that aren't seen or experienced as those strengths initially, right? And so those shadow beliefs, those shadow parts of ourselves, we experience them in life before we face them as something that we need to keep under the rug. We want to pretend they're not there. But once we actually face them and deal with them, those are actually the sources of some of our greatest strengths and transformations that we will ever experience in our life. And so it's just, we don't typically get to that point until we have some huge breakdown in some part of our life where we feel like there's nowhere else to turn. You're up against the wall, and now you have to face it. And then once you move through it, there's nothing but breakthrough every single time.
Yeah, and I think you proved to yourself that you can do difficult things. And there's so much fear around all of these pieces, because a lot of how we operate in this 3D world is from the head, from the brain, from the thinking. We've forgotten to feel, right? We've forgotten to understand what it is in the body and where in the body it is, and what is the sensation, and even being heart-led and all of these other pieces, right? And then it comes back again to spirit. We're always guided, we're always connected. We forgot to even ask to access that information, right? We've been told like we don't have the power. It has to come from outside of us.
Yeah, and when you actually tune into your intuition and to your power and to yourself,
which as the feminine is our secret power.
Exactly.
But we've been told like push that down. It's not helpful. It's not useful. All of these pieces, but that is our superpower.
Yes, and you cannot trick or lie to a conscious woman who's in tune. We feel it, we see it.
You know,
the energy, right? Like that energy, you walk into the room and something feels off. You know, you can sense it. So, but we, like you said, we were conditioned to subdue it. We were told it's not within us. Somebody has to tell us what to do. We have to obey. We have to surrender to the outside versus surrendering and letting the inside guide us.
1,000%. So that's why I think it's like an incredible time to be alive. The fact that we're even having this conversation, the fact that like, you know, I was divinely guided to create the festival. That is not Shen thinking I should create a festival. That literally was spirit coming to me, God, source, universe, whatever word you're comfortable with, saying there must be a festival. And then immediately I knew what the responsibility was, right? And so that's just my part that I'm playing in it, right?
Yeah.
And so how many messages are we always receiving that we're just ignoring?
Yes.
And this is where it comes to like get quiet with yourself and really sit with receiving your life's purpose because it is there.
Yeah. And that also comes with like that guidance, making those, when we're in our masculine too long, we mute that voice, that guidance within us, and that's when we start making mistakes. That's when we get into relationships that don't serve us. That's when we do investments that don't pan out, because when we sat, there's a example. We were investing in a condo back in the day, young, before the kids. Something wasn't sitting right. It was off. Yet we're like, no, it's a good investment. But within me, I ignored it. And the deal went through and we lost, you know, our deposit of over $15,000 because I did not listen. And there I can pinpoint to at least 10 mistakes in the 20 years we've been together that I've had this feeling and we went ahead anyways, and it never panned out.
But that's the gift, right? And so it's just a reminder to like always listen to yourself. You are getting messages. Yeah. Right? And this is the big thing that I feel like we're being programmed against, is not to trust ourselves.
Yes.
Right? And we have to remember that we are being divinely guided, and that's right. That's the surrender. It is, right? Because when we're operating from the brain, there's so much fear, there's so much chaos, there's so many stories being told. But everything's kind of already laid out, and we just have to take that step every single day.
Yeah, and it's that surrendering. It's like, it's whatever is meant to be mine is already mine. Yeah, I just need to go and go get it. You know, it is already mine, and what's not meant for me, it's meant for someone else. Yeah, and that's okay. That was one of my, because I do have a psychic business coach, and she says, Bella, because sometimes, you know, you call and you're like, oh, this is not working out. She's like, well, wait a minute. When you sit with it, is your energy feeling freely flowing into this? Or do you feel like you're pulling? Because my language is always like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of constantly pulling, pushing. That's the language. She's like, well, because it's not meant to be there. Your energy needs to go where it can flow freely. So sit with yourself, tap into that guidance, and then you will get your answers, and then go with the flow.
Have you ever had an experience of like that beautiful flow and that beautiful surrender?
Oh, yes.
So then you know how it feels, right? Yeah. And if it's not feeling like that, then it's easy to discern.
Yes. Yeah. It's easy now to say yes and no when you're aligned with, you know, we have a vision, mission for ourselves, our family, and our business together, our partnership. And then where is the energy flowing? You sit with it. It's like, is this event in service of? Is this meeting with these people in service of?
And that's the consciousness, right? Conscious business, conscious relationship, conscious health, all of the pieces, right? Because we're so used to caring about what other people think, right? Or doing it because so-and-so like said, I owe them whatever, you know what I mean? And honestly, it doesn't matter, because in servitude is what matters.
Okay. Well, with that, where can people find you?
I'm online at the Shannon DeSouza on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
And do you have your dates for the festival next year?
Right now, we're finalizing our new location. It's between the two, and so we're looking at July 24th to 26th.
Okay. Yeah. Well, can't wait to partake in festivities. So until next time, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, Lee. Thanks,
bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights to elevate your life and business.
If you found value in our conversation, spread the love. Share this episode with family and friends, and let's grow this supportive community together.
And don't forget to like and follow us so we can reach more amazing people just like you.
Until next time, remember, let's not sugarcoat it. Keep it real, raw, and unfiltered.